Well, this feels different. Welcome everyone to another episode of A County for Old Cars, and today I'm in Tess, my 1967 Triumph Vitesse 2 litre, who has just come back from her annual MOT, which she passed with flying colours. Fairness, she needed a little bit of adjustment to the handbrake, which I will admit is not the car's strongest attribute, but she also had some work done on the ignition system. So Anglian Triumph Services at Ditchingham have replaced the lumination system, which had been in the car for, I worked it out, it's about 14 years and hasn't given any trouble at all. But she now has a new accu spark system, new coil spark plugs, and John, who is the wizard there with Stromberg carburettors, has managed to reset the carbs and balance them for me properly. Today is really just a chance to take her out and see whether I can feel any difference. And I have to say, one of the things that I noticed is that cold starting is much better, and the power delivery feels so much smoother and more linear. I'm not getting the odd misfire at high RPM, which I was getting sort of a few weeks ago, and the car idles beautifully, very, very smooth at tick over, and just as one of these six-cylinder engines should be, just a sort of silky smooth power delivery. So I'm really pleased. Bess, who you saw in my previous film, is now sort of undergoing the same treatment, so I'm hoping I'll get her back in a few days. But by way of a sort of quick test drive, we're on the road from Snape to Aldeburgh, and one of the reasons for this is that the Snape garage is one of the only ones in my area which sells shell, and rightly or wrongly I'm a strong believer in V5, and I even tried to run my modern cars on it, so it does mean a bit of a diversion to get petrol. Today, the Aldeburgh Road looks fairly empty. We can't see the speedo. We're cruising at 50 at the moment. The rev counter overreads on this one, so we're doing just over 2,500 RPM in overdrive. If I just squeeze the pedal a little bit, see we're up to 60 already and still just under 3,000. Beautifully smooth. So foot down on this bit. 3,000, and we're just at the right side of legal. Plan is, as we go into Aldeburgh, is to just go through some of the little back streets, just to give her a test at low RPM, and then we'll head out on the coast road for a bit. is the most beautiful day. I was filming yesterday in Bess, and we had similar bright blue skies, but it was a lot colder. One of the things that I have noticed straight away is the lack of popping and banging from the exhaust that I was getting last time I drove out, particularly on the overrun, which made me think that maybe the mixture was a little bit lean. I did have a go at richening it up, because I noticed that if you pull the choke out slightly, the popping and banging would lessen. But it looks as though what I managed to do is I managed to richen one of the carburettors and lean off the other inadvertently. And to be truthful, I just literally did a quarter turn with a coin underneath the strong butt plugs, so I didn't even take the air filters off or do it properly, but it was just a quick go to see if I could improve things, which did make a bit of a difference. But I knew the car was going in to see the Stromberg Guru, so I didn't worry too much about it. But yeah, she is about as quiet, I think, as she's ever been. We had a new rocker assembly put in last year, and the tappet gaps haven't been set since then. I don't think they were wildly out, but she's a little bit quieter today. So again, I guess we've taken up a little bit of a gap there. Take this roundabout in third. So just under 1,000 RPM, and she pulls very, very cleanly. We're 25 miles an hour in fourth, and again doing about 1,700 RPM. One of the lovely things about these engines is there is just so much torque that it is effortless. Right, we'll dive down the back here, I think. So Aldeburgh, as you may have seen from one of my earlier films, very popular seaside town. It's sort of up there with Southwold, really, and again it had been a little fishing port historically. Now it is the sort of playground of the affluent London sect, who pretty much own most of the houses here. A lot of holiday lets here. It provides useful employment for local people, but house prices here are unaffordable for most people in Suffolk. And although today actually looks pretty busy, looking at the number of cars, one of the sad things is that in the winter we often find that the town is pretty much sort of deserted, which actually is a local, it's quite a good time to come and enjoy the town, because you can guarantee being able to park there. But yeah, I have a real soft spot for Aldeburgh. Some of the best fish and chips are here too, if you get to come out. But it's perhaps best known for its association with the annual Aldeburgh Music Festival, which takes place in June, and was largely founded by Suffolk composer Benjamin Britten, who lived and worked here with his partner Peter Pears. We're in the High Street now, and it is quiet. If you come at the weekends or half-term or holidays, the pavements are absolutely crowded. Lots of people queuing for fish and chips or ice cream. In fact, it's just 12 o'clock, so it's lunchtime now. But it's got this wonderful broad high street and lots of buildings really from the 19th century here. A lot of Victorian architecture here, some Edwardian buildings, but none of the sort of timber framed medieval buildings that we saw yet in my last film in Debenham, for example. In fact, although this is the high street now, the old high street was several hundred yards in that direction under the North Sea now because of coastal erosion. So the town over the centuries has been pushed further and further back inland. And I think this is sort of one of the reasons why we don't see much in the way of medieval architecture, although you will see a building which sort of survives from the early town centre, which is the Mute Hall, or the Moot Hall, as in a meeting place, and it's still the meeting place of the town council and home to the Little Aldeburgh Museum. I won't just take you down that bit actually so you can have a look, but this is it, this little sort of Tudor building up ahead of us, timber framed herringbone brickwork as opposed to lath and plaster, and that's largely I think because it needs to withstand the kind of weather that comes off the sea. So the sea is just off to our left here, and but yeah, this is what's there. Background. Like so many seaside towns in the 19th century, it became a fashionable place to come and visit once the railway reached here, and a lot of people from London would come and stay really for the health benefits of sea air. So I think based on what we've just done, I think it's fair to say we don't have any of the low RPM misfire problems that I had in the film that I did in this car going around Ipswich. It's quite nice. Hoping we were going to be able to open the taps on this road, but it looks as though car in front is going to restrict us to a sensible 30 miles an hour. Never mind. now just coming into the seaside village of Thorpeness. Again, you'll see there's an earlier video that I've done on Thorpeness and the history of that village. But it's charming. This was built really out of a tiny little fishing hamlet before the First World War, by the Ogilvy family, and they created a very impressive fantasy village specifically for the affluent London holiday makers. And again, this was possible because of the railway, and families used to come with their domestic staff and spend weeks at a time occupying these timber buildings that you see, their sort of characteristic clapboard elevations. There's a golf course here, a lake for boating, obviously the beach, which we can't see at this point, but we'll have a little look at that, and country club, restaurant, shops. This beautiful building ahead of us is actually one of the almshouses, and the Ogilvy family, who were generous benefactors, provided 3 developments of almshouses for villagers and estate workers. This building ahead of us here, this old barn, is one of the few buildings in Thorpeness that sort of harks back to the time before the Edwardians. But even the church up here, which is now converted into houses, was built to serve the new holiday village. Let's come to the top. You might just be able to get a glimpse of the sea. And so we can pretend we're at the Mediterranean, but we're looking south down towards Aldeburgh, where we've just been. Looks inviting, but must be absolutely freezing in there. And I notice there's no one actually on the beach this morning. Right ahead of us is the Mere, the boating lake, and that was actually man-made. It was cut by hand. It's about 1 metre deep or something like that, so it's safe for children, fed by the River Hundred, which runs sort of up the back of the village. And if you've got a glimpse of the house in the clouds just now, that was the water tank for the village, very cleverly disguised. So it was a sort of a water tower which had the tank right at the top in order to provide good pressure, and the water itself was pumped up by windmill, and the windmill's still there. It'd be really nice to try and open up on this road. I'll try and fall back a little bit. RPM in third. We're on now is the Saxmundham road, and again it's a good driving road. The surface is undulating, so in this car I have to just be a little bit careful about being caught out because the camber can change quite suddenly, but there's some nice twisty bits here. Might get a chance to exploit that. So we're only limited really just by the road surface here. It's the pitching effect, and that's because again of this heavy agricultural and commercial lorries. Bends are wonderful, but you can probably get a sense from the camera that the nose of the car is oscillating. It tries to absorb these dips. Well, we're doing about 55 here in fourth gear, about 3,000 RPM, so I haven't gone to overdrive yet. Again, just balancing the car on the throttle. Come down into third for this one. Just on the brakes. Come in. Still in third. Brakes. Power on now. Lorries can sort of find their way onto my side of the road as we have just seen. Just use on the brakes, move over, it's fine. Go past. Come round. Yeah, unfortunately the camber sometimes wants to throw you into the middle of a road. Second for this one. Power on. Again, because of the odd camber, I'm having to use the whole road on some of the bends. Beautiful, and no hint of a misfire anywhere. And we're just here in Saxmundham. It's quite unusual for me to be able to take time out during the week to film, but it just so happens that I had a couple of days off work the weather is just too good to miss this opportunity. So just to sort of give you a sense of where we are, Saxmundham is a little market town that is located between Woodbridge and Southwold, and just off the A12. In fact, actually the A12 used to run right through the centre of the town. One time it had a thriving cattle market, but like a lot of these East Anglian towns, the cattle markets had pretty much gone by the 1980s, and it's taken the best part of 30 years, I think, for the town to find its identity, having lost the cattle market and also being bypassed. And it's grown a lot over the last sort of 20 years, and for the local economy that's actually been very good. It's brought a lot of people in from places like Essex and Hertfordshire, relocated with their jobs. Obviously got the sizable power station as well here, which is a good source of local employment, but it's been popular with people retiring to the area, and that has allowed independent shops to become established and to thrive. I'm just interested, I'm sitting here looking at the temperature gauge now, so temperature gauge is bang on, and Kenlow fan has just kicked in. This car doesn't like traffic, so she tends to get sort of hot pretty quickly. But the engine is idling at about 850 RPM very, very nicely. So yeah, again, a good test of this revised setup. I keep looking, changing my vision here, or my view of the temperature gauge, because depending on how I look at it, depends on whether it's at the lower midpoint or upper midpoint. Yeah, she's just going to need a little bit of gas there, and there's the ignition light had come on, and we're about to move. I think sort of fuel vaporization is always a concern with older cars. You sit in traffic. This does have heat shields underneath the carburetor, which help a bit, but the design, as with lots of cars of this period, was to have the carburetor sitting right over the top of the exhaust manifold, so things get a little bit warm underneath the carburetors pretty quickly. But yeah, a bit of cool air coming through the grille, and the fan is cut out, so we're fine. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little run out with Tess and I. Interesting for me just to see and feel the difference that a proper service and tune-up has made, and I'm very grateful to John and David for the work they've done for us. Anyway, I hope you get the chance to take advantage of the spring weather, get your own cars out, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care.